following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
Good evening. Welcome to the Couchcasters podcast. I'm your host, Jeff, with my host, Parker, my host, Scott, my host, Merv. And our guest tonight is Rick with the Tide World Order website. Rick, welcome to the show, buddy.
Man, thanks. I'm excited to be here with you guys. Glad to have you as part of the Tide World Order family.
Well, happy to have you. I'm going to turn it over to you for just a minute, and you can kind of explain what that Tide World Order family is.
Yeah, man. So we started Tide World Order actually a couple of years ago as a content site, really looking just to try to bring Alabama fans together, give a place for, especially for fans, to be able to have a place to have a voice. I think our space is kind of dominated by a lot of talking heads that, that kind of want to step into that professional space and want to be, they want to be wannabe sportscasters, and really and truly, I mean, I think part of being, part of the Bama Nation is that fan experience, right? And so we just wanted to give a place for a crossroads for people to come. And so it started out as a blog, kind of had the idea to, start a podcast and then ultimately a podcast network. And so we're excited to have you guys on and to be part of that. We've got another podcast that's joined us, the Way Offsides podcast. Yeah. And then I've got a podcast that I do with a guy named Scott Moore. And so we call it the Bama Forever podcast that you see up in the corner, wrong side there, but you see up in the behind me. And so we're just kind of having a ball. Scott that does the podcast with me is a 20 plus year radio and newspaper veteran. And so he's kind of a guy that's been around the SEC and been around Alabama sports. And so we try to bring a little bit of a mix of, he's super professional and I'm super not. And so that's, that's kind of fun to be able to get both sides of it. But yeah, right? My background is, guys, I've been an Alabama fan, since I knew anything about anything. And so have been pulling for the Tide for, 50 years, and kind of grew up in one of those families that you didn't eat regularly if you didn't pull for the Tide. And so that's kind of the
way it should be, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the way I've raised my kids too. So, which one of them is an Auburn fan. He hasn't eaten in months, but
oh gosh, that's all right. My wife's an Auburn grad, so nobody's perfect.
Well, my wife is a Mississippi State girl, and so she didn't care about football at all, which is
mine.
Which is pretty handy.
Couldn't care less.
Works well. And so she loves sports. She just doesn't care about football because she's a State fan.
Well, yeah.
But Jeff Levy's going to change all that. So we're feeling great about where they're headed. But no, yes, man, I think we're just trying to create a place again where there's interesting content, where there's a variety of stuff, where there's written stuff, there are podcasts, there are going to be interviews that are going to be there. We've got a few sponsors that are coming along with us, and that's kind of beginning to happen as well. And so we're just pumped, and it's cool to have you guys as a part of it. This is a fun show, y'all. I mean, you guys have a great time when you're on here every week, and this is exactly the kind of stuff that we love. And so just want to encourage folks to come.
Happy to be here.
TideWorldOrder.com is where you can find us. That's a great place where we're kind of trying to aggregate together, and what we're thinking is just there are a whole bunch of us that are content creators, and we we do similar things, but we don't do the same thing. And we're all talking about the Tide all the time. And so we just want to be able to expose people to that. And thank you guys for being a part of it. And, we're pumped. And this is a great week to be a Tide fan, right?
Amen.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Amen. Well, thanks, Rick. Appreciate
nice
you
way to get
sharing that.
started.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we're happy to be a part of this. So let's talk about what we got. So here we are, SEC Championship Week. This is the game we've been waiting for 2 years, 2 flipping years since that Jamison Williams went down the first quarter of that championship game. We've been waiting for this moment right here that we're going to get Saturday. Now, it's always be careful what you wish for, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that may be the case. By the end of the game, maybe, but here we are, man. We got our shot at the champs. And this is what we wanted for 2 years. I'll drink to that.
It's been a long time coming. Can't say I feel great about this weekend, but this team continues to surprise me. I mean, each and every week they find a way. So
totally agree.
It'll be a good one. I don't have any great insight this week, but
I have a quote that comes to mind for a week like this week. Comes from one of my favorite franchises, Rocky Balboa, and that comes from the great Sty Stallone. You
got to catch the chicken, Rock.
You got to catch the chicken. It's you're gonna crap thunder, right?
Ain't lightning and crap thunder. And you got to do it because Mickey loves you.
When it comes down to it, it's it ain't over till it's over. It's an old statement from one of the old movies. It's not just from that movie, but it's a statement that goes around. I think this has a potential of going back and forth multiple times throughout the game. The key for Alabama, I feel like in this one is, do not let Georgia just start getting a feel for the game. Because if they get on a roll, I mean, I can imagine that the conversation.
They start rolling with Bowers, and they start getting in a rhythm and starting to, bang, hit this, hit that, hit this, hit that. I mean, it could snowball quick because nobody can cover him. So we're gonna have to. It's gonna have to be a team effort to neutralize this guy.
And that's going to be an interesting topic for a little bit I'll end up with, but. I think that's been talked about a lot this week is, if this ain't Auburn, you make these 3 mistakes, you could be down 21 that quick. And I saw it against Florida. I saw 3 touchdowns in less than when Georgia played Florida this year. I saw them score 3 touchdowns, I think, in maybe a minute game time, but it was really
they
like
just
35,
raced
it felt like 35 seconds.
Like that.
But
I got my afternoon back though. That's a good freeze, Parker.
Someone screenshot that.
He's making us wait, and he's just gonna sit there.
he'll be back in a few.
Yeah, well. All right,
hey, let's talk about Roll Tide Jerky, shall we? Let me get one of the sponsors in here.
Yeah,
but, guys, I know I'm the guest here, but I just want to throw out to you something. I think we need to be cautious, but Nick Saban's 7-0 in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and wow. we're now at a 16-1 record in Atlanta. He's only ever lost 1 game as the Alabama coach, and that was the first SEC championship game that we played in there. Yeah. So there's a first time for everything, and we've seen that with him beginning to lose to assistants a little bit and some of those sorts of things. But as much as we dread going into Jordan-Hare Stadium and dread the Indian burial ground and all the crazy stuff that happens there every year and barely getting out of there, with our tails, we have really played well and dominated in Atlanta. And I think that's got to make them feel good. Going into this game.
Very comfortable.
Georgia certainly is a strong team, but there's a little bit of a mental edge that comes with being able to to walk into this game in a place where this team knows they can perform well.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, even with Georgia's rivalry week with Georgia Tech, I mean, it was still a relatively close game. I mean, it usually is a cakewalk. That's why everybody pretty much sleeps on it. But I mean, but
it's usually a home game too. I mean, there's a lot of red there this weekend.
It has always been a morning game, so they just knocked it out. Let's get to the real games, but they saved it for tonight.
That they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that, like an 8-point game, 31-23?
Yeah, it was really just a
one-score game. I mean, Georgia-Auburn was a one-score game. I mean, Auburn played them tough. So,
well, Kirby made that statement today. He was like, "Don't tell me about Auburn. I've been there. I know how crazy it is there." So he knows.
Oh, I see. I didn't hear that. Oh, that's cool.
He said it today. Yeah.
I mean, he was a part of it for however long he was there.
Oh, even at just at Bama, like being at Bama and now at Georgia.
As Georgia?
Yeah. So he gets it. He knows there's some freaky stuff that go on down there, but I forgot where I was at. I was having some tech issues. I'm sorry. I had to really.
Yeah, you had a great freeze screen. That was a great freeze screen.
Something like that.
Yeah. It was perfect freeze screen.
I had to go and turn off everything that I had with Wi-Fi other than. So sorry about that. Have no idea where
sucking some bandwidth. You got to free up some of that bandwidth.
Yep. Can't put it in rest mode. Got to definitely turn it off. But
it's just a potato wrapped in tinfoil.
What? What?
Potato wrapped in tinfoil stuck on top of the thing.
Oh, well.
That's old school internet. That's 56K internet right there.
Like with the antennas that coming out of the back.
Yeah, jiggle the antenna.
Yep. Come on, gotta get it right.
You guys don't know anything about antennas. Come on.
Hey,
there's nobody on here, right?
Hey, Rick, I know some about antennas, baby. These other kids down here, they don't know jack about antennas, but your boy here, knows all about antennas.
We had a remote control when I was a kid.
Me.
My dad would go, hey, boy, get up, go change that television.
Turn the volume down.
That's right.
Sit back down. No, it's too far. Turn it back up a little bit. Get up and walk back across. Turn it back up.
That's right.
Back.
That's right.
You're right. It was fine before. It's too loud again. Turn it back.
Doesn't it infuriate you when the TV doesn't have the buttons anymore and you lose the remote?
Yes. Modern day problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a funny joke going around yesterday about Gary Danielson being the new ESPN ABC lead SEC broadcaster. I literally almost pooped my pants when I read that. I was like dying.
That was my podcast partner that put that out on Twitter.
Was it?
And it was, and it got a little bit of viral traction yesterday.
Oh God! I almost had a heart attack, dude. It looked so good, like it looked like a real post, and my heart just fell into my stomach. I mean, I was just devastated. I was crushed when I read that, because for that sliver of time, because of course I hit Google. And I'm like, oh, no. And I couldn't find anything. So then but for that sliver of time between when I saw it and when I started to put together that it wasn't real, my heart was just, I thought it was just going to sink down to my stomach. That terrified me. I was like, no.
Oh, he'll love the Big Ten. Iowa and Illinois.
He'll eat that stuff up.
Night game under the stars.
Is that who CBS
so much dead space because nothing's going to be going on, and he'll just be able to hear his voice. Dream job.
Is that who CBS is getting?
Will he talk about the kick six during the Big Ten games, you think?
I'm sure he will.
He's going to might bring up conference on it.
He might actually in that game bring up how many penalties Alabama should have had called on him. During every instant replay of the whole game.
Gary, you're not even doing that game. I don't care. I want to tell you what's wrong with them. There's something wrong with them. Could have been a
penalty right there. Well, they could have thrown a penalty. That could have been a flag there. They could have called him for holding there. And it's like, dang, Gary, calm down, man. Let's all agree it was the worst officiated game in a while. On both sides of the ball. It was really poorly officiate.
Those refs have an amazing track record. So I mean,
Absolutely.
everybody's got their bad days.
They've never been suspended for a game. They've never had any controversy ever. Or just
Yeah.
I mean, that's like Rogers Redding and the Crew from back in the day. Rick, you remember that guy, don't you?
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Yeah. It's just and like I mean, the minute you see that, you just know it's like we're in for it. Golly.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
If it weren't for bad officiating, we'd have no officiating at all.
That's true. I wonder who's going to get the game Saturday. This SEC game. I wonder who's getting this game. I mean, I don't even know who the A Crew is for the SEC anymore.
Yeah.
This jerk face that Saturday is the only one I recognize just because his face is tattooed in my brain. I mean, I don't know.
I really feel like that was the same Crew. That was the Tennessee game for us last year.
It was.
That was the same crew for that
Oh my god! Oh my god!
And let me just say,
they were allowed to ref.
It's not even Alabama, you know.
Yeah, what was
they
the
do
other
this
controversial?
Every game.
Arkansas last year.
The game they
wasn't
got
it?
suspended, it was Arkansas and Auburn.
Yeah.
Bo Nix spiked the ball backwards, and they called it a spike or an incomplete pass, and it stopped the clock.
Yeah.
Not a fumble, even though it was a backwards pass. And it was a whole thing.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
So
I know there's a track
this-
record with these guys.
they're just a terrible crew, and they always get the primetime game, it seems to me.
How
3 or
freaking
4
is
a year.
that? Who's making these decisions? Like who's assigning these?
I don't know how they're still.
Yeah, I really don't know how they still have a job.
referees,
Yeah.
but-
It sucks. Well, I mean, but back to that tweet that your buddy did, Rick. Like, on a serious note, though, I mean, obviously Herb Street and Fowler will be the primetime SEC crew. I would have to imagine, unless they're breaking them up for next year. But if not, I mean, clearly they'll be the SEC Game of the Week crew, obviously. But I did read that they were going to be able to flex it, so like, ABC or ESPN or whoever, Disney or whatever, can choose where they want to put the primetime game. CBS had 2:30. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's
the new deal is that they can, so like
flexible.
they can be flexed, so they could put a game at 6 in primetime. If it was Bama LSU, they could move to the 6 o'clock primetime game, kind of like CBS double heads it now, but ESPN would have that option every week to move it wherever they wanted.
That's actually a good point. I didn't think about that when moving to ESPN.
Yeah. So I think it'll be better all around. Just mainly getting rid of Danielson, and I like Brad Nessler, but Danielson's awful. So happy to be done with him. But CBS just commercialed you to death, and I don't know if that's just the way it is now on every network, just because of the running clock and the sponsorship. The sponsorship agreements have to be met. So I don't know if every network now is going to be overloaded with commercials, more commercial breaks because of the sped up clock. I don't know.
Did you guys see the schedule news today?
No, I did not.
They've announced like 12 of the marquee games for next year. And so we're going to have Georgia on September 28th. And then they've announced that we've got Oklahoma the week before the Iron Bowl.
Oh, wow. No more Krusty's Ball State before the Iron Bowl now. Wow.
Oh, boy.
Is that in Norman?
I don't know.
I believe so.
Oh, God.
On the road.
That's just nice.
Not good.
You get Georgia and Oklahoma next year?
Nice. That's right.
Yeah, and they also said they're keeping Tennessee on the third Sunday or Saturday in October, so it'll be on the 19th.
So what about LSU?
That's all they announced. They gave 12 games kind of across.
Oh, I got you.
SEC
I got
schedule.
you. I see what you're saying.
So
now.
three of them were hours. Yeah.
Of course they were. They obviously want to make money.
Hey, the Egg Bowl is going to be on Thanksgiving again. You guys.
That's cool.
Didn't.
I like the Egg Bowls on Thanksgiving. It's always a good slugfest to watch.
That's exactly what it is.
It's always a little bit painful, but
Yeah.
man, is it fun.
I'm still not going to forget the Egg Bowl from a couple years ago, where it was the peeing dog, as everyone can remember.
Elijah Moore, baby.
Yeah, I know. And I'm just, I can close my eyes and I can see it. I couldn't tell you if it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago, but I can close my eyes and see it. And I'm like, what an idiot. And guess what?
Yeah.
Hey, of that whole season and that whole team, that's what I remember. And that's
what most people do remember about Elijah Moore. But the truth is, he actually had a really good career at Ole Miss after that, and wound up getting drafted. I think in the first round, didn't he? When he a first round pick, late first round pick by the
first or second
Jets, I think, or something.
Super productive.
Yeah. So I mean, he ended up but he's still only remembered for that. Unfortunately,
imagine that being your legacy.
That's it. And that's the unfortunate thing. Like, why do that?
I mean, it's too bad because the guy can play. You know, I mean, he's a good player, and he got drafted. Yeah. And he got paid, and now he's on the whatever team he's on now, the Browns, I think.
Yeah, I think
so
right.
It's I mean, but that's what he's remembered for, is that dog penis. Poor kid.
Yeah, that's how I want to go.
Yeah, no kidding.
Honestly, he's probably making so much money right now he doesn't care. So
he's
probably not.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
But he'll be fine. But guys, I kind of wanted to go into a little bit of this breakdown. If y'all wanted to move towards that, have y'all seen the rankings? I guess that came out yesterday. Yeah, I'm trying to say
which ranking. These aren't the CFP rankings, right? Those will be out Thursday.
Correct.
Right? AP
Thursday. Okay. Nope. Yeah, it's AP then.
Thursday. Isn't it every Thursday?
Tomorrow.
Oh, Tuesday.
Tomorrow.
Tuesday. So it'll be tomorrow.
Okay, tomorrow.
So the AP
will be 8 still.
Oh yeah. So in the AP, they've moved a couple things around, but nothing too crazy. So 1 UGA, 2 Michigan, 3 Washington, 4 Florida State, 5 Oregon, 6 Ohio State, 7 Texas, 8 Bama. So Texas and Bama did not move.
No love for Texas or Bama, dude. They're just sticking us there.
So I mean, there's some. I mean, you could. Do you have that screen by chance, Jeff, of all the matchups for the bowl games that you had? That one, yeah. So, So, I mean, y'all can take a look at this. We actually have some this Friday, which, hey, look who that team is. New Mexico State. Does that look familiar? They're playing for the
Liberty
against Liberty. So, obviously, they're not a bad team, but we'll have to see. I don't know what they're going to do against Liberty. They're pretty good, too.
App State Troy matchup again.
Yeah, buddy. Troy's got it this time. I didn't App State. Yeah, App State beat them the first time, didn't they?
Yeah,
I think App State beat them the first time.
In Troy.
What's the Hail Mary? Remember
the vet's gonna be rocking.
Right. That might be. Oh, dang! What time is that? 4 p.m. I'll be watching. Another game. So
we'll be rocking.
Yeah. So I mean, you're looking at the games on Saturday. I'm going to go from the top here. Number 1, UGA's
game is huge.
Oh, yes. The Oregon-Washington one?
Yeah. So
you would rather Washington win.
Winner is in, regardless.
Yes. I have that as a lock.
Is what I'm venturing to guess. Winner is in the playoffs, so that's 1 slot.
Yes.
Gone.
I have them as a lock, yes.
3 left. All right. Okie State, Texas. Okay, sorry, Parker. Where were you going next?
Oh, no. Like Oklahoma State, Texas. That's a big one. I have that actually circled for things that we have to have happen for Bama to make the playoff. Obviously, we would have to beat UGA. We've got to focus on that. And obviously, we don't even need to look ahead. We just need to focus on this game Saturday.
I'm going to preface this. All these scenarios are obviously with Alabama knocking off Georgia.
Yes.
If we lose it, then none of this matters.
The only way we get in.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And any of those people out there that think Ohio State can sneak back into this, they're what are they? They're going to 11-1 with.
Come on,
there's
man.
none.
Surely
It's not like one of those years. They're not a conference champion. You're going to have a bunch of conference champions in this.
Am I drunk? You can't have a 1-loss non-conference champion in over a 1-loss conference champ.
I agree.
You can't. whether it's us or Texas. You can't do that.
Oh, I agree. So obviously,
otherwise, get rid of the conference championship games. Just get rid of them.
Yeah. So they're almost just as useless as the bowl games. All right, who cares then?
Right.
The two things that are the possibilities of happening, obviously, either is this Oklahoma State-Texas game, Texas to lose, or Florida State to lose. Either one of those, I really do think Florida State of those two has a higher chance of losing. But I really don't know. Either or could happen, but this is all null and void if we don't win. So it's all just talking points for everybody out there.
I'm a little less confident in Louisville after watching Kentucky, but I'm hoping that was just a rivalry passion.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's hope.
Could be a look ahead, like a lot experienced this weekend.
Yeah,
but yeah. As we kind of talked about it, we think the Pac-12, whoever wins that game, is a lock. Big Ten. I mean, I'm betting on Michigan to win, but things are crazy.
I'm fairly confident on picking Michigan there.
Michigan's winning.
We'll got to keep it optimistic for everybody.
They've choked before, but I don't think that.
No.
What's the spread in that game? I wonder. I had that graphic, but
22.
Oh God!
Nice.
All right.
But and then if Georgia wins, then they're going to stay number one. They're going to be riding in that, so they'd be a lock. And obviously, if Florida State won out, in my opinion, they would, that'd be a lock too. They'd be 13-0 champions of the conference. Showed a lot of adversity too, so I know everybody's kind of hitting on them for a bit, but we'll see. I think they're really hurt as this far right now, as far as where they can go as a team. That's my thing.
So, okay, Oregon-Washington winner is in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then Georgia wins, they're in, obviously.
Yes.
If Alabama wins, then it becomes this if game. Florida
Correct.
State wins. Let's say Florida State wins with the backup. Are undefeated ACC. I can't believe they would leave an undefeated Power 5 conference team out.
There's no way they're left out.
You're right.
Saturday.
Right. So there's two guaranteed. Not guaranteed, but if Florida State wins, they're in. Georgia wins. So Michigan, you said, I agree, is slaughtering Iowa. So Michigan's in. So, I mean, it really comes down to Okie State's got to beat Texas. And we have to beat Georgia. That's really the because if Texas wins, even if we beat Georgia, they won't. I don't think they'll jump us because of the head-to-head.
Which is unfortunate.
Even though that would be a way more impressive win than anything that Texas has done other than beat us. That's really their most impressive win of the year is beating us.
I agree with you, Jeff. But it's like, it's also like, it's not even the SEC championship. You just upset the number one team in the nation.
Right. The two-time defending champs, undefeated.
And I know you
I
can't
wouldn't be
use logic.
shocked if Michigan's not number one tomorrow.
I actually,
that
would be.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
Well, that would just really mess everything up. In my possible
in
scenarios.
my opinion, if you're going to do preseason rankings, the champ from last year should be number one until they get beat. That's how I look at it.
So what you guys are saying is Mike, we're pinning all our hopes on Mike Gundy.
He's a man. He's 50 now, I guess.
He's an old man.
I mean, I don't see any other scenario. I guess if Louisville beats Florida State, so we could say if Louisville knocks off Florida State, that would help us. But it's all about Texas to me. It's been all about Texas for the last 6 weeks to me. Like no matter what happens, we'll be one spot behind Texas. So if Texas goes in at 3, then we'll be in at 4. If
Texas
chaos is abound and Michigan goes down, Georgia goes down, whatever, and Texas gets up to 2 or 3, we'll be 3 or 4. Like, I think that's exact. That's it. No matter what shift happens, we'll be one spot below Texas the entire way.
So Jeff, pull up that possible scenario thing. if you've got that.
You're-
So if y'all look at that
scenario one down here.
Scenario one is if we were to upset Georgia and Texas were to win, and let's see, it was Florida State losing, and obviously the winner of the Pac-12 championship. So that's what I would think that scenario one plays out.
That's
what do
if
you
Florida
guys think
State
of that one?
loses and we win and Texas wins. We will get in at 4. I like that. It's at the bottom of this screen here. If y'all can't see it, it's at the bottom of this sheet.
Hunter, what do you think, man?
Trying to read it, to be honest.
Oh man,
You go full screen. Not sure if that makes it any easier. See the bottom there.
Yeah, possible rankings going.
So
Next week. Is this assuming Florida State loses?
this is if Louisville
this is all
wins.
theoretical. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
this is just a scenario. If Louisville beats Florida State's out. And then Texas wins, we win, and then the Washington, Oregon winner
Yeah.
stays right there behind, and Michigan wins, which I agree with Scott. That's going to happen. So in this scenario, we need Florida State to lose.
Correct.
Okay. So then here's scenario 2. Okay, well that didn't help. Okay, whoops, sorry. Here's scenario 2. So Georgia beats us, SEC
Correct.
champs in. Michigan wins, they're in. Washington, Oregon winner is in, and the Florida State wins, they're in. So yeah, that's guaranteed if that plays out like that.
Correct. That's what I would think.
What is scenario 3? If Texas loses?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
So if Texas gets bounced, Michigan, Washington winner, Oregon winner, Florida State wins, and then we beat Georgia, I think we're in at 4 as well.
All right.
I just don't see us jumping Florida State because if the undefeated part.
Yeah.
That's where I'm thinking. I just don't think that we will jump them with these rankings that how they've been these past couple of weeks. I just don't think it would happen.
I know you said that, and this year lined up perfectly to put all the conference champions in, but I really don't think Ohio State's going to just be not considered. I still think they have a shot, even, considering all these scenarios.
Yeah,
They
I
lost
agree with you
by
there.
6 on the road to potentially the number 1 team. In
The number 1 team. I mean, you're right, and they love Ohio State. I mean, they played
They do
half a
like Ohio
season
State.
one year, and they put him right in there.
I'll say this, and I'm
And then
sorry.
we kicked their ass. So hey.
That struck a nerve. If they do, you might as well just take the human factor out of it and just go back to a computer, because that right there is just wrong. I mean, we're supposed to
I
value
agree.
a conference championship, and I'm not yelling at you on it. I'm just
No, I know.
this is my biggest pet peeve right now, and it goes back to what Hunter said. It's if you're going to turn it into like a meaningless bowl game, let's just not play it. Let's just do the top 12.
They would
right
never
at
give
the
up
end of the
that
regular season.
cheese at the gate, though.
Well, then it's
for
worth
the
something.
TV
man.
money. Yeah.
Either take your pick. Can't keep doing this.
You know-
Being wishy-washy.
Guys, I think, one thing I think you got to keep in mind here is the bias against Alabama is heavy.
Yes.
And I think there are no stakes for the committee right now. I mean, so what if they make the most horrible decision they possibly can? We're in a 12-team playoff next year. Nobody cares about this in the future.
Boy,
this
would
is
be
the perfect scenario to keep us on the outside, even if we beat Georgia. And I think I have very little confidence at this point, unless there's total chaos on Saturday, that
Agreed.
we're actually going to be able to get there. Just because I think the bias is that hard.
I think the committee's been dreaming of this scenario. It's the perfect way to. So well, you still lost to Texas. So sorry.
And
you've only got one SEC. You've only got one SEC representative in the room. Tony Barnhart's the only person from the SEC that's sitting in the room with the committee. And at the end of the day, I think we're handcuffed, and I think there's no other scenario in any other year that they've been able to disregard the fan base and the money, but they can disregard the fan base and the money and make a business decision do something that they've wanted to do for years. And so I think this is going to have a whole lot more to do with politics than it's actually going to have to do with result on the field. And that's why we've seen them prefer Texas all along, because they've been setting this scenario up.
I can see it. This is the perfect storm too. There's never been, at least that I can remember, 4 undefeateds going into conference championship week. And then behind that is 4 one-loss teams, granted.
All vying
those
for
teams
that
have
one
the potential to lose head-to-head against teams above them. But, I mean,
I don't remember
last year the 4 team, and it's crazy. So
yeah, well, what a year to have a 12 team though. This would be such an awesome year to have a 12 team with all these good teams, good one-loss teams. I mean, the top 10 teams are really good. Like, would be a great 10 teams in a 12-team playoff.
Well, that's going to be their marketing push for next year. I mean, this year is going to be the evidence of saying, hey, no, it shouldn't be an 18 playoff. It should be, it should be 12, because there are 10 teams this year that, that had a viable chance. I think one last thing, and I'm going to have to jump off, guys, but I think the other thing, if Alabama doesn't make it, if we beat Georgia and we don't make it, the thing I think you got to look at going forward is what the TV numbers do over the course of the 2 semifinal games and the finals. Because I think if you don't have Atlanta and you don't have Birmingham, you lose the Southeast, and if they lose the Southeast, there are going to be some really seriously pissed off advertisers. And so, so the only thing that might keep us in it is them having to make a last-ditch business decision to say, in order for us to maintain the viability of our product, we've got to have an SEC team in there just to be able to have TVs turned on.
I'm glad you made that point, Rick.
Great point.
Because if we're talking about numbers, then you want the best big names in there. Michigan,
right?
Washington, Oregon, Florida State, or I'd say not Florida State, Texas, Alabama. I'd say Florida State's right behind that tier. But yeah, that's insane. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Well,
and the truth is, if you want television numbers, you get us. You don't get Texas, because we command a much bigger television audience than Texas brings to the table, and so it's next year maybe once they're in the SEC. But if you don't have an SEC representative in this, they're DOA. So, well, hey guys, thank you so much. Appreciate
Rick,
the
thanks
time.
for coming on with us, man. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Happy to have you.
Look forward to seeing you guys down the road.
See you soon. See you, buddy.
Man.
See you,
Thanks, man.
All right. Well, that was cool. That was cool to have him come on here and kind of shed a little bit of light on the network and what he's trying to do, and just give his opinion. He's an older school guy, so sometimes it's nice having those old school guys coming on and giving opinions and whatnot. So anyway, yeah, thanks Rick for coming on and just hanging out with us. Anyway, so he had a good point though about the numbers. Like that's going to be a big thing. I mean, that's always been my stance, is like, if it comes down to a decision, who is going to pull the numbers? Follow the money. If you're ever in doubt, you ever question, follow the money and you'll arrive at your answer. So I was always like, if it's about that, Alabama's getting in, because he knows, like he said, you're getting Atlanta and Birmingham if Bama's in. And if not, do you lose those, and that's your numbers look a lot different.
Yeah. Which would be, the scenario stuff too. I was trying to look back at it. We already went through 2. I think I had 3, 4, and 5 left. But I mean, we probably.
I want to ask a genuine question, just because I don't pretend to be a Pac-12 expert.
Yeah.
But I've only been. My theory is the only reason they've been in this conversation at all is because it's the committee's last hurrah send-off for this freaking conference that's about to dissolve. Do they actually deserve to be even in the conversation? It's like, no. I genuinely do not understand why
this year.
Okay, if they are actually represent, okay,
I agree.
I'll give you Washington because they're undefeated, but Oregon
boat raced everyone they've played.
Okay.
I know their strength of schedule, but they've boat raced everyone they played. Anyway, continue, Murph. Sorry.
But you're not
Well,
lying.
it's just I was just genuinely curious because I don't pretend to be a Pac-12 expert, and next year it doesn't even matter to be an expert on the Pac-12. I just genuinely did not understand why they were in the conversation to begin with.
Basically, a lot of that right there is what you said, Hunter. And I did these scenarios based off, what these rankings have been the past couple weeks, and from what I'm feeling and seeing that the committee is saying, and I agree with what Rick said. There's a lot of bias out there, and maybe they've kept it like this. Florida State, if they weren't undefeated and they were in the same position we were, 11-1, the conference champion, I don't know, they get in. I think to Scott's point that they would put Ohio State in over them, which because if we're talking about, I got kind of heated a little earlier on that one. But no, it's the truth. There is bias there. And that's why everybody was, let's get away from the BCS. Why?
I was looking back and said, why did we go away?
If you wanted to do it, just expand the field into this. I mean, it really did really well with the ranking system. I don't know if it gets to that way, so you're going to start seeing a lot of issues with it, and maybe some format goes back to it. I don't know, some form or fashion.
See, so scenario 5 is what I think is going to happen if we beat Georgia and Texas and Florida State both win.
Correct.
I think
Worst
us
case
and Georgia
scenario.
will both be out.
Yep. Sorry, there's a little bit of misspelling right there. Sorry. Worst case scenario for the SEC. Yes. Not good. Not good.
So we need, like it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. We need Florida State or Texas to lose.
Just imagine if they both lost.
I think it's.
I mean, that's possible. I don't really have a lot of faith in Okie State.
I think it's more possible for FSU to get upset than Texas.
I agree.
I was just going to say, I don't have my money. I wouldn't put my money on Oklahoma State. And I said it a couple times before Texas games this year where this is a game they'd lose. This is the game that always lose in the past, and it stopped them from being, 11-1 or 10-2 or from going to the Big 12 championship. Mike Gundy, for whatever reason, shows up sometimes for these games. Sometimes he doesn't. If we get good Mike Gundy and Oklahoma State plays a good game,
I think he's going to have it in for them.
Could really help us out.
Because
I also think,
and he'd love to kick their butts.
I think Washington could really help us too. I think a Washington win would be really helpful.
Yeah, clearing Oregon out would definitely help us. But once again, everybody, so Texas and Bama would shift up to 6-7.
Yeah.
Unless they want to rank, Washington.
And Ohio State would move up without having to play a game, and Ohio State's going to wind up in the 4th spot and not have to play any of these games.
Yeah, what's the scenario that Ohio State?
Like Bama in 17, where we threw the Auburn games, we wouldn't have to play this game, and then because we knew we'd be in the playoffs.
I didn't honestly include them in any of my scenarios about Ohio State because of
we'll have to see tomorrow too.
In that bias that I had.
All depends on where they're ranked tomorrow. That's really the ranking
the rankings tomorrow is what matters. Because if Ohio State's 7 in the CFP rankings, then it's a moot point. Because we got to go beat Georgia still, and Texas is in front of them. So they're basically letting us know that we're ahead of Ohio State if we beat Georgia. And Texas and Oregon just need to win their games and hope Florida State loses and Georgia loses and we win. So that's also a theoretical. We'll see how they rank them tomorrow. I still think Ohio State's right in the mix, though. I mean,
you think they'll be 7?
I don't know. I could see them at 6 where they are. That's
we're like 3.
That's what I'm saying. We need to see what
oh my God. If they were at 3, I would poop a fat brick. That is so bad. But it would be.
You get some real Maverick would really show up there.
Oh, I would come on and just rant myself. Don't even get me started. If they rank them number 3 tomorrow,
No,
chair's
there's
gonna
no
throw a
way.
window.
There's no flipping way. That was just trying to be funny.
Never say never. Never say never.
Hey,
That to me going, there's no way they put him in the playoffs. Only played 6 games. There's no way they put him in the playoffs. At number 4, Ohio State.
Well, just Penn State being 10 has just propped Ohio State up too a little bit. I think.
True.
Penn State, biggest fraud 2-loss team ever.
Yeah, and it's a top 10 win, and
They're like South
State's
Carolina
not
in the Spurrier years. Never a threat, but they win 10 games, so it looks good for other people.
I mean, they beat up on the bad teams.
Yes.
And Iowa, which is different.
I think Bama's getting punished more for the South Florida win than we are for the Texas loss. Based on us sitting at 8.
USF.
And maybe the Arkansas game and the Texas A&M game and now this Auburn game.
I was going to say, I think the general strength of schedule was not in our favor this year. Our strength of record would be much better with the Texas win, obviously, but A&M's 8-4, Tennessee not as good as, well, they never looked that great, but it's not like beating 5-1 Tennessee. That win meant a lot more the week after.
I was about to say at the time when we had to knock horns, these even LSU was. I mean, LSU was a threat.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I want y'all to see this.
What's up?
Oh my gosh! So Nick Kelly, he's one of those guys. I guess he's a writer. Looks like Rick actually follows him, but. Alabama football schedule 2024, what we know. I know he mentioned a couple games, but August 31st, WKU, Western Kentucky. September 7th, USF.
Us? Is this us?
This is us. September 14th, at Wisconsin. September 21st, nothing. We have no idea yet. 28th, Georgia, at home. October 5th, 12th, or blank right now. October 19th, we're at Tennessee. So it's the third Saturday in October, like Rick said. October 26th and November 2nd are blank right now. November 9th at LSU. November 16th, Mercer. November 23rd at Oklahoma. That's Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
We're playing on Thanksgiving next year.
Thanksgiving would be that Saturday. Thanksgiving would be the Thursday before that. So the Thanksgiving would be the 21st next year, I think.
Yeah.
So that's a change. No Iron
Normally
Bowl.
we play the Iron Bowl 2 days after Thanksgiving.
And see, that's what's happening. We're playing at Oklahoma that Thanksgiving weekend, and then Auburn at home November 30th. So they're moving the championship game
back a week.
Back another week. Oh boy.
That's a difficult stretch there at the end.
2. Oh, okay. I think they're going to give 2 bye weeks.
That would be a good answer to that.
Kind of like the NFL, I guess.
Like the first half and then the second half of the season.
NFL only gets 1.
1? Oh.
Well, they probably should have 2, but they only get 1.
That was one of the comments. 2 bye weeks, I assume, and the person says looks like it. God, that's insane.
Is that official though? Like, is that 13-week schedule official?
Or is that just for early reports?
14-week, or is it going to be 14 for sure? I guess is what I'm asking.
How official of it that is, I do not know.
Have they decided whether there's going to be 8 or 9 conference games yet?
I think we're going to stick with.
Because we get 3 common opponents, right? I mean, we get not common, but 3 traditional opponents that we keep.
Yeah, and that'd be LSU, Tennessee, and Auburn.
God dang.
So the Chuck brothers are button heads right now. Just your quick hockey.
I don't like them.
Who is, you said?
The Chuck brothers, Panthers and Senators are playing right now.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm looking at the schedule, and it looks like It is 14 weeks.
Jeez, God, it's like an NFL schedule. A couple
That's
years, it's gonna be up to
interesting.
17 weeks.
That they move rivalry week from Thanksgiving to the week after.
Yeah,
that is interesting. That's odd because that's kind of goes hand in hand.
yeah, it's kind of like a staple.
Mm-hmm.
Like Thanksgiving, and then you have your rivalry game, your Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving, and then that Saturday you have all your rivalry games. I mean, it's just like it's been that way forever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand. I mean, we played on Thanksgiving in 1992. I remember that game.
Really?
Shut out Auburn 17-0. That was on the way to the 92 undefeated championship season, but that game was on Thanksgiving Day. Sure was.
Was that the last time?
I think that's the last time we were actually on actual.
So it's just like a one-off, just weird scenario. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why we wound up on Thanksgiving that day, but yeah, sure enough, because we had our family Thanksgiving deal at the church because it was a big family reunion, whatever. And I remember after eating, running down to the basement where the TV was, and that's where I watched the game. Was in the basement of the church, of our church.
By the way, Jeff, what do you think all the Auburn viewers went on this show? We usually have one or two. We're Eagles by now.
Well, we're not recording. We're just recording. It's going live. It's broadcasting tomorrow. So
I was going to say.
No, we don't have any. We don't have any chime-ins on this. So it'll broadcast tomorrow night. I just was setting up to record tonight.
Going to be
I'll try to get one on the show next week and ask them why there's always 7 or 8 young women crying. Win or lose. There's always 7 or 8 women crying in the stands. So I'd like some insight. Is there something in the water?
What's the best thing, Scott, is when they're like, when they first cut to them and they're not quite there yet, and you can just kind of see them
and then
like
they
teetering, and you're like, oh, it's coming. Here it comes. And then you'll see them like start sniffing, and then it comes. Then you see the
floodgates are open.
The floodgates open. You're like, oh.
There's actually quite a few here in Atlanta.
Auburn grads.
Yeah, it was funny. Some of them were actually like from their like former gymnastics team. They're pretty nice. It's like, hey, that was a tough game, and looking at glass half full. Think about all the money we saved university from y'all not storming the field.
It's true.
Because they were gonna storm the field and throw garbage all over that town.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're welcome.
So the city workers are like yelling "Roll Tide" all night.
Yeah.
Lucky, thank God.
Everyone probably went home.
I mean, they'd already rolled half of Toomer's Corner before that game.
I was wondering about that if they were rolling it.
I think they got half of it done.
Man,
that's a shame.
We just don't understand what it's like down there.
Not at
just
all.
Never understand.
Not at all. Oh man. Well, this is a big weekend, man. I'm excited about these games this weekend. There's going to be a lot riding on it. Hang on, let me bring this back up. See what times these are. All right, let's see. Okay, Oregon, Washington is Friday night. So by Saturday, we'll at least know the fate of one of these. All right, and then the Texas game is at 11 my time. I don't know about y'all Eastern timers, but my time's that's 11, so that's cool. So I'll know the Texas fate by the time our game kicks off.
Yep.
Or close to it anyway.
Yeah.
Because we kick off at 3 my time. And then Florida State is not till 8 o'clock. All right, so we'll at least know two fates will be decided by the time we really get into our game.
It's pretty late for FSU.
Yeah, no kidding. 8 o'clock Eastern. Good Lord.
FSU's
in North Carolina.
For last year, they had basically half their schedule was like on Thursdays or Wednesdays on ESPN Plus.
That's respect.
Yeah, so come on
ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
Or SEC Network Alternate Plus or whatever that third tier. When we have basketball games, the early season basketball games on that third tier.
Yeah.
SEC
they have a 14-year-old announcing.
And Richard Hendricks. It's always somebody and Richard Hendricks, just like a random former Bama player. You're like, I didn't even know he's in broadcasting.
check into the Morehead State game, and did watch that one, and that's exactly what it was. It was like a high school broadcast. Anyway.
Well, heck, at least the Bama, whatever game it was, Bama Oregon wasn't even televised.
Oh yeah, that's right. Like Flow Hoops or something.
Yeah, because I was going to record it and like watch it after the football game was over, and then I pull it up on my phone and I'm like, no TV, and I'm going, no TV. What?
Like radio? Could you at least?
We have like a $300 billion deal with ESPN to have the SEC network to broadcast all SEC games. How do we wind up not having a televised game?
I think they'd have it somewhere. Preseason tournament too. I mean,
yeah,
it's not that time of year, I guess. But
whatever. We dropped 6 spots for losing to Ohio State and then beating Oregon. We dropped 6 spots in the rankings. That makes total sense.
I don't know how to feel about this weekend, though. I mean, I really think the writing's kind of on the wall, but I just find it really hard to believe that if Texas goes in there and wins by 3 points on a last-second field goal, and we go out and somehow beat Georgia by 3 or 4 touchdowns, that we're not talked about. At least considered heavily. I'm not saying would make it, but
I mean, we would have to be in the conversation.
Have a tough discussion about it, It's like
no matter what happens anywhere else, if we beat Georgia, we have to be in the conversation. Regardless of what happens with anybody else, if we knock off Georgia, now, like you said, Scott, whether we get in or not, it's a different story, but we have to be at the table if we beat Georgia, regardless of what happens with anybody else. We at least have to be at the table.
Yep.
Doesn't mean we'll get in, like you said, but we have to be in the conversation, in the discussion, at the dinner table there if we knock off Georgia. But if not, none of it matters anyway. But we got to have aggressive Milroe. We got to have attacking Milroe. And not tentative, hesitant to run Milroe Saturday, or we don't have a chance.
You know what state McClellan's in? Is he still in his boot?
I mean, even if he plays, he's not going to be 100%. So
yeah.
I think you're going to get a heavy dose of Roydell and Jam, maybe even a Justice Haynes sighting if the situation presents itself. But I think that means more carries for Jam, which is a good thing. That kid's fire, man.
Heating up, getting better and better.
So I think we're going to be down a fully healthy Jace. If he plays, he will definitely not be 100%, I don't think.
Do we think even Bowers is 100%?
Maybe, I don't know if Kirby's playing.
Yeah, I'm starting to
playing shadow games. With him, maybe he's playing shadow games or trying to. We got to prepare if he's fully healthy. We can't take anything with that guy for granted.
Yeah, I don't know.
2 of their receivers are hurt too.
Yeah,
they're questionable for Saturday, but Rara Thomas and McConkey. So, I mean, those are 2 weapons.
Those are legit.
I'd rather beat them at full strength, but
Ladd's a threat. I don't know if he's going to be in the game, but he's definitely a threat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Rara Thomas has been real nice for him too. But
I just think if Jalen runs like he did against LSU, if he plays with that mindset like he played against LSU and Kentucky in that second half of Tennessee, I think we got a good shot of winning this game. If he doesn't, I don't think we have any shot of winning this game. If he plays tentative like he did against Auburn, now he made some plays against Auburn, but he left a lot on the field. And I don't think we can afford to leave that many plays on the field against Georgia.
No. I mean, if he plays like that, we're not gaining 450 yards again.
Agreed.
And I thought he was a big reason we won the game Saturday, obviously.
Absolutely.
I mean, obviously at the end and just in general.
I mean, he didn't play bad. He left, but he left a lot of plays out there.
Most of the game outside of a few drives that were not good, but
just odd decision making, pulling up and throwing that ball in the end zone when he was 3 yards past the line when he had an easy first down. If he just falls forward, that's a first and goal from the 1 foot line. But for whatever reason, he just pulls up and throws it in the end zone, like oblivious to where he is. It's like, quit thinking pass first every play. Once you start jogging and start them legs moving, you got to shift to run mode and forget past.
Yep. He's getting the protection now. Has been for weeks. I mean,
so I think it's
Georgia will take advantage too when you make mistakes.
This is going to be the big one.
And at least on the other side of the coin, I'm not saying that Georgia is not a great team. They don't deserve to be where they are right now, but they are not this immortal team that these Georgia fans will let you think they are. Like they make mistakes too. It is not impossible. It is not. It cannot be fathomed that Alabama could not pull an upset here. So,
yeah, I agree with that. They can be had. You just gotta catch them right, like any heavyweight. You know, like any heavyweight can be knocked out. You just gotta catch them right.
Yeah, it goes both ways.
You just gotta land the punch. So, and we're capable of landing. We just gotta do it.
I know Georgia's going to take this SEC championship seriously going into it, but a part of me hopes that they're just as cocky as their fans are. Because if so, and we kick them in the teeth, I mean,
it's 21 all over again if that goes down that way. Let's hope 21. Let's hope our season ends better than 21 did. But still, it's. I don't know. I don't see any way Georgia gets in if they lose this game.
No.
Yeah, they got in 21, but I can't. There's too many. I don't know. We'll just have to see when.
It sucks for that team if that's the case, you know. But
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Have them right where we want them to. I mean, they haven't had their tough game against Missouri. They had a tough game against Missouri.
Yeah,
got a couple other games where they haven't looked great, but they haven't had to overcome a whole lot.
Yeah,
they played pretty well all year, but I think that's definitely our edge. Like I think,
well, look, we're playing with house money
to an early lead. Like, they'll be on their toes a little bit.
They've had some sloppy first halves.
The pressure's on them. All the pressure's on them in this game. I mean, we're playing with house money, so it's like, you know, we can take some chances with some stuff in this game. I think we don't have to be as conservative because we got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we're on the outside looking in regardless, so might as well.
Yeah. Put it all on the line.
Yeah, might as well. You know, let's try that play we've been hesitant to run, or, you know, let's chuck it deep, you know, 3 more times than normal, you know, or just something. Just, you know, throw caution to the wind if it comes down to it because you got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, that's about all I got. You guys got anything you want to add before we jettison out of here and prepare ourselves for this weekend, and then we'll reconvene. I actually have jury duty next week, so we'll have to play it by ear and see what's up with that. How my schedule rolls for that next week. The 2-week trial is what the summons said, so we'll see. We'll see what's up with that. But we'll be in touch. But anyway, so Roll Tide this weekend. We got a big one. Let's hope we can pull it out. And, you know, stranger things have happened, and let's just see if we can do it.
Whatever scenario, Texas and us get into the playoffs just so we can have that round 2 matchup.
I want another shot at them. I'd be lying if I said.
Yeah, that'd be an awesome scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we lost our shot at Clemson in 20 when they choked against Ohio State. We missed our shot at them because I was wanting another shot at Sunshine bad, and nothing better than that 20 team to bust their ass. But they didn't do us the favor, and they lost to Ohio State. We had to slaughter Ohio State instead. So, oh well. Anyway, so Roll Tide, fellas. We'll see you guys next week.
Roll Tide.